The text of Justice Kennedy's majority is cold and bureaucratic. Every detainee who will be admitted to the general population may be required to undergo a close visual inspection while undressed, he writes for the 5 right-wingers in the majority of the Supreme Court. There's no looking back now. The United States is officially a police state. Here are the basics, as reported by the New York Times. The case decided Monday, Florence versus County of Burlington, number 10945, arose from the arrest of Albert W. Florence in New Jersey in 2005. Mr. Florence was in the passenger seat of his BMW when a state trooper pulled his wife, April, over for speeding. A records search revealed an outstanding warrant for Mr. Florence's arrest based on an unpaid fine. The information was wrong. The fine had been paid. Mr. Florence was held for a week in jails in Burlington and Essex counties, and he was strip searched in each. There is some dispute about the details, but general agreement that he was made to stand naked in front of a guard who required him to move intimate parts of his body are not. The guards did not touch him. Turn around, Florence later recalled his jailers ordering him. Squat and cough. Spread your cheeks. A court motivated by fairness would have declared this conduct unconstitutional. Fair-minded people would have ordered the New Jersey municipality to empty its bank accounts and turn them over to the people it humiliated. Everyone involved, the police, county officials, ought to have been fired and charged with torture under international law. Not this court, the U.S. Supreme Court led by John Roberts. Besotted by the sick logic of paranoia and preemption that has poisoned us since 9/11, it ruled that what happened to Albert Florence was perfectly okay. The cop's conduct is now legal. Now officials may strip search people arrested for any offense, no matter how minor. That's according to the New York Times. If you get arrested at an anti-war protest, the police can strip search you. If you're pulled over for a minor traffic infraction, as was the plaintiff in this case, or for setting off fireworks on the 4th of July. Humiliation is the law of the land. The court heard examples of people who were strip searched, quote, after being arrested for driving with a noisy muffler, failing to use a turn signal, and riding a bicycle without an audible bell. They considered amicus briefs by nuns and other, quote, women who were strip searched during periods of lactation or menstruation. Body cavity searches are now legal for anyone arrested for any crime, no matter how trivial. As of April 2nd, 2012, finger rape is the law of the land. Think it won't happen to you? Think again. 14 million Americans are arrested annually. 1 in 3 Americans under the age of 23 has been arrested. It happened to me a couple of years ago for a suspended driver's license. Except it wasn't really suspended. I was lucky, though. My cops weren't perverts. They didn't want a looky-loo at my private parts. How did we get here? Preemptive logic. Saddam Hussein is a bad man. He hates the United States. What if he has WMDs? What if he uses them against us? Or gives them to terrorists? Or what if? We can't take that chance. We don't need evidence in order to justify bombing and invading Iraq. We have fear and the logic of preemption. The logic of preemption flails, targeting anyone and everyone. A single plane passenger sets his shoes on fire. He never even came close to causing real damage, but now everyone has to take off their shoes before boarding a plane. Infants, old people, veterans whose limbs got blown off in Iraq. Everyone. Can't take chances. What if your toddler is a member of Al-Qaeda? The logic of preemption is indiscriminate. What if terrorists are stupid enough to use phones and emails to plot their dastardly schemes? We'd want to know, right? In the old days, before 9/11, officials who suspected a person of criminal conduct went to a judge to obtain a wiretapping warrant. Now we're paranoid, and the government is power-hungry, so government officials and their media lapdogs are exploiting our fear and paranoia, openly admitting that they listen to everyone's phone calls and read everyone's emails. Can't take chances. Got to cover all the bases. What about the Fourth Amendment's prohibition against unreasonable searches and seizures? Quaint relics of a time before the police state, like the Geneva Conventions. Now, here comes Justice Kennedy, amping up the perverse logic of preemption. Responding to the nasty cases of the finger-raped nun and the humiliated women on their period, Kennedy pointed out that people detained for minor offenses can turn out to be the most devious and dangerous criminals. Timothy McVeigh, who blew up the federal building in Oklahoma City in 1995, got pulled over for driving without a license plate. Quote, "One of the terrorists involved in the September 11th attacks was stopped and ticketed for speeding just 2 days before hijacking Flight 93, he wrote, continuing with the observation that San Francisco cops, quote, have discovered contraband hidden in body cavities of people arrested for trespassing, public nuisance, and shoplifting. That's where we are. No doubt about it. If you search every car and frisk every pedestrian and break down the door of every house and apartment in America, you will find lots of people up to no good. You will find meth labs and bombs and maybe even terrorists plotting to blow up things. But who is the bigger danger? A drug dealer? A terrorist? Or a terrorist government? This summer will be ugly. Cops will arrest thousands of protesters who belong to the Occupy Wall Street movement, which is fighting corruption and greed and trying to improve our lives. Now that police have the right to strip and molest demonstrators, you can count on horrible abuses. Cops always go too far. Note to people about to be arrested: pop a laxative in order to avoid any trouble at the police station before they slip on the flexicuffs. I don't know about you, but I would rather live in a country that respects people's rights and freedoms more than the paranoid madness of preemption. In the old America where I grew up, we lived with the possibility that some individuals were evil. Now we face the absolute certainty that every policeman is a fully licensed finger rapist.